Hello, I'm demonstrating your programming assignment 2, which is going to be working with list boxes and text files. Here I'm in Visual Studio, and here is my form, and within my form I have a text box with a label above it for student name, and I named that name text box. I also have a combo box, which is a drop-down box. I want to show you in the combo box properties that I set the drop-down style to drop-down list here, and I set the name, I think, to major combo with a label above it of major. Here you will see that I have added a group box, and I took the text property out of the group box down here, so there's no text. Within the group box are two buttons. One is to add a student, and one is to exit the program. I have a second group box right here with a list box control added. If I move the list box control down, you'll see that there's a button that says Show All Students. So even though you don't see the button, I've set the visible property to the list box to false. So when the application's first started, the user won't see the list box because the visible property is set to false. However, when Show All Students is clicked, an event handler then will set the visible property to true. So you're changing a property at runtime. Some other things I changed was the text property of the form. Always do that. Never leave the default text property. And I changed the background color and the fore color. As you see to the form, here is the fore color. And up here is the background color. Normally it's just the defaults to a gray color. Okay. If you look over to the right, we have the Solution Explorer. This is the solution here. And if you click on this button here on the Solution Explorer toolbar that says Show All Files, you will see the number of files, increases a little bit. And the reason I want to do that is I want to drill down to the bin debug folder. Within your Solution Explorer in Windows Explorer, you will see, and here is my solution folder, and you will see there is a bin and a debug folder, and everything I see here within Windows Explorer will correlate to the files I see here. So you can see what files exist within the solution folder here if you click on Show All Files. Well, what I want to show you is you're going to be working with some text files here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because I want to show you how to create it within Visual Studio. But here's this one. I'm going to provide that one for you so you don't have to type it all out. But I can double click. Notice it opens the text file right within Visual Studio. You can see a list. You can edit this if you want to and then save changes to your files. So let me show you how to make a file within this debug folder. So you can right mouse click on the debug folder and then click on Add New Item. So what you're going to be doing is adding a text file that's going to contain the list of students. So I'm here on Visual C# Items, scroll down to Text File, and I'm going to call that BHC student list, I believe is what I had called it. It will have a TXT extension. BHC student list.txt. And you can edit it right here. If I wanted to start adding some students, I could do that right here. Okay, so let's demonstrate how this program works. So here's the application in runtime. And one of the first things that happens as the application is getting ready to run is an event called the form load event. I have added an event handler for the form load event that creates a stream reader object and reads each of those majors in that BHC major list text file and adds it as an item to the combo box. This is a combo box. As it adds it to the item of the combo box, it's using the add method to the items collection. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other event handlers. The Add Student button will check, is there a student name there? Is there a major? If so, it's going to create a stream writer object in append mode, meaning that it will add students to the existing file and not overwrite the existing file. If there is not any text in here, or if there's not a major selected, the user gets an error message. The exit button just simply closes the application, and the Show All Students button will set that list box, that student list box property to visible property to true, and then it's going to open a stream reader object and do a read line to read each of the students that you have added and add them to the list box. So let's first of all try adding a student without no data. So we're going to get a message box showing us an error message. If I add a student and don't indicate a major, same error message. Okay, so let me indicate an error message. Let me indicate a major. And as you see, it added the student to the text file. Well, let's just verify that. So I've come over here in my Solution Explorer. Even though that you see the applications running here, I've gone in and I see that it's added the name of the student, followed by a comma and a space, followed by the major. Okay, let's go ahead and add another student. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and click on Show All Students, and you see what happened is here's the list box, here's the name of students. The order that you're going to see the list of students is the order that you added in. We're not ready to do any sorting. Exit button's going to exit the application. So we're here in design mode. What would happen if we renamed this file? So I'm going to go ahead and rename this file to student major. Well, the code specifically says to open a certain text file. So this is going to cause an error. Let's see what the application does. And I had it add to the list box unable to access majors list. If I didn't do that, let's go ahead and see what happens if I did not check if there for perhaps the file being or not. Okay, I have removed the error handling that checked to see if the file bhcmajorlist.txt existed. Recall I had just renamed that and removed the list out. So the file it's trying to open has a different file name than the current file. This is going to generate an error if the programmer doesn't check for this. So let's run this and see what happens. And there is my file not found exception was handled. So I want you to make sure that you don't allow an error like this to happen. So that pretty much wraps up the application I'm going to ask you to write. I'll include a little bit more detail on how to do this error handling, etc. that I want you to do. Have fun writing your program.